जय हिंद, जय भारत। वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। मेरे साथ एक बड़े स्पेशल 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 आदमी हैं जो हमारे साथ ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं। यार, आप लोग वंडर कर रहे होगे, यार ये आपने तो फॉर्मर इजरायली स्पेशल फोर्सेस लिखा है। आदि, आप हिंदी में बात कर रहे हो, तो मैं आई वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस मिस्टर ओरेफ गैब्रियल। आई एम सॉरी इफ आई एम मेसिंग अप योर नेम
Offer,
बिकॉज मेरा
Offer.
ओफेर गैब्रियल, and he is former Israeli Special Forces. He has इन्होंने हमास के साथ लड़ाई लड़ी है। एज अ मैटर फैक्ट, इनकी पूरी फैमिली अभी आर्म फोर्सेस से कनेक्टेड है, एंड इनकी पर्सनल स्टोरी भी है जो हम सुनेंगे आज। एंड विल ट्राई एंड लर्न कि वो देश में क्या हो रहा है। ठीक है, सो I'd like to welcome, namaskar, good evening, and welcome to the show.
So, good evening to all people online. And I want to say first, Shalom. In Hebrew,
Shalom.
it is Shalom is peace. So, peace, Shalom, Namaste. And to our Sikh brothers, Guru Parab Mubarak. So, thank you, Adi, for giving me this opportunity to speak to our Indian audience because they are very dear to me. Because every time I say the sentence that India is my mother and Israel is my father. Why is Israel my mother? Because I was born in India. At the age of 16, we migrated to Israel. We wanted to join the army. We told our father, me and my brother, younger brother, we wanted to join the army here, serve this nation of Jews. And we had that education from young age that, you have to fight for your people. 2000 years we have suffered and more. So we came to Israel, but India has not left us. We have left India, but India is still in our heart. So thank you. Or one thing I will give that what is common. There are many similarities in between Israel and India. Jewish religion and this Sanatani religion, both have given a lot to humanity. But one thing I want to tell you, it is very common. ये देश है वीर जवानों का. India and Israel. I have lived both
Absolutely.
worlds. दोनों में जवान है और हमारे यहाँ और इंडिया में लड़कियां भी है जो फाइट करती है. And during the video, I will explain to you how our girls who have fought in the army, they killed terrorists, and when they had to sacrifice their own lives, they even sacrificed when the time came. Young girls from the age of 18. So I will use this opportunity to explain to our Indian audience, my brothers there and sisters, how we in Israel are fighting this war, which is very common for both nations, even Israel and India.
Hmm.
History, long history of both the religions, Sanatan and Jewish, and we have the same challenges in front of us. Hamas has a personal account with me because at the age of 24, my younger brother, he was serving in a unit which Indians know as Fauda, the serial. In that same unit, he was serving and he was going to become an officer. And one fateful day, terrible day, he was killed in action, fighting two terrorists who wanted to infiltrate a settlement, Jewish settlement near Hebron, and
Oh.
massacre Jews. Just what we saw on the 7th of October, on a smaller scale by two terrorists. They would have used the last bullet to kill each and every Jew. And if they had to give their lives, they would have given their lives. And if they were taken prisoners, they would have been in prison, waiting for the day like today when we are exchanging prisoners for hostages,
Hostages
civilians,
for prisoners.
for criminal terrorists.
Terrorists.
How can you say that a young baby, young toddler, yesterday she was released, 3 years old, her mother and father were killed. She was in her mother's arm and she fell down and she crawled her way to the very next thing she had in her mind, the neighbors. And the neighbor got her and he gave her to his wife, and he went to bring his weapon, because in Israel you have your personal weapon, which is pistol, but in the settlements you have these M16s and all. So he went to bring the weapon. In the meantime, the Hamas terrorists caught his wife, his two children, and that 3-year-old girl, Abigail. Joe Biden has spoken about her yesterday when she was released, but she doesn't know she has come back as an orphan. Her mother and father are dead. Her two children, two brothers and siblings, two brothers, one brother and one sister, they were in a cupboard where the parents hid them. For 7 hours, they were inside that cupboard. They had hid them inside, and they were calling their uncle, and they didn't know what happened. First, they thought that girl was also shot, and yesterday they released her. So today in Israel, we are in euphoria. From last Friday evening, we are celebrating the release of our hostages. What hostages? Women and children. From a 3-year-old toddler to an 85-year-old elderly woman. These are the hostages taken by Hamas. So don't believe me when I say Hamas is a monster.
Hmm.
Go and look it up. People who are watching this live, just go and watch what Hamas has done. And don't watch TikTok, because TikTok is giving you 2 to 3 minutes at the most of knowledge. This is not knowledge. Open the books about the history, even Indian history and even Israeli history. And then you will come to know what is happening with both nations. Our fates are similar, because we had a great general in Israel, Yigal Alon. He has this saying, which I will translate in English: a nation that does not know its past, its present is bleak, and the future is uncertain. So remember what your past is. As Jews, we were always told, I used to ask my dad, why you're speaking to me about the Holocaust? Why you're speaking to me what happened 1,000 years ago in Masada? If people who know what is Masada, look it up if you don't know it. When Jews committed suicide instead of going in to be prisoners with the Romans. So first of all, open a book, open some good knowledge video like what we are here with Adi. Because Adi, I respect him because he's non-biased. He's not taking sides, not of Hamas, not of Israel. He's showing you the truth. And the truth is what people need to know, not propaganda. I can say what 1,200, 10,200 is Jews were killed. It will not make any effect if I lie. So people should know that the truth coming, from where it's coming, who is giving it, has it an agenda. So today, I will use this opportunity to give you a personal story. My brother, at the age of 24, was killed by these terrorists. So, and you'd be surprised to know, while serving in intelligence, one day my fellow colleagues came to me and told me, Ofer, you know that guy who killed your brother? I said, yeah. That guy was killed after 11 months by Israeli special forces. But his brother and his cousin, they have families, terror families, they're called, like tribes. So they told me his brother and his cousin are being brought here for interrogation. We need to tell you beforehand. So I said, okay, what can I do? The brother of my brother, who has killed my brother, will be in my hands. But we are a democratic nation. And I was told, you will look after him as if he is a regular prisoner. And I don't even know the name of the guy who killed my brother because could not give anything. That guy is gone, he's dead. But this is what happens in Israel. If everything becomes personal, hostages, it's personal. Because I was against this deal, to tell you the truth. I said Hamas is on its knees. We have to bring them to lie down and then do this deal. But okay, the government said no. And then everybody supports what the government says. And today, from Friday night, there is not a set of eyes which have not been wet with tears after seeing our children, our women coming back from hell. We are the only nation on earth who are releasing devils from paradise to bring angels to paradise. Okay, let that set in. We are releasing devils from our paradise to get our angels who are in hell there. So this is what each and every Israeli has in mind, because tomorrow it can be, and nobody says this. Everybody asks his own self. If it would have been my brother, if it would have been my daughter, if it would have been my sister, my mother, won't you want that the nation would do anything to bring it back? This is what is happening. We are giving our all. Even we are taking a big risk, a huge risk, by releasing these prisoners. It's not that these prisoners are released, they are an immediate threat. The concept that Hamas is winning, Hamas has brought us to our knees. We are releasing these prisoners, these criminals, not even criminals, they are terrorists, to bring our children and women. So we will give that price. We will pay the price. Our soldiers are there now fighting inside Gaza. They are in harm's way. We know it. But still, we are willing to pay the price. These 4 days, when these deals are going on, Hamas is pointing its rockets towards our cities.
Yep.
Even my city has been targeted. On the third day of this war, a rocket, I will not call it a missile because in army terms, missile, you can
Guide.
aim it, guide it. But a rocket just thrown towards Israel. It hit my home 30 meters. My home was it. So that means a few millimeters, that guy who had pointed that rocket, a few millimeters would have mean would have hit my own home. It could have, God forbid, killed my family or injured us at the best. So we are like taking chances each and every day. We are doomed to fight terror. We are doomed to fight this ideology. We will fight it. No peace, no diligence. We know what we are facing. We are facing monsters.
Hmm.
Okay? And a monster living next to you. I will simplify it for you, for the audience. Suppose, Adi, I will take you as example. You're living in a home with 3 children, your wife, and one morning your neighbor barges into your house. It's a festival. You're all sleeping. He comes inside your house. He rapes your daughter. He kills one of your son. He kills your wife. You're left with 2 children. Okay? And he goes back to his home. Now you have a cannon with you in your house. Are you going to use that cannon to destroy the
Ab-
enemy, the neighbor,
Absolutely.
or you're going to send one of your children to his house to try to fight him? Okay? And I'm saying we are not that stupid. Nobody is going to send his children. You will use that cannon at the first instance. But
Absolutely.
Israel is doing something more than that. Israel is sending one of his children to knock on the neighbor's door to tell him, please remove your family. We are going to hit you with the cannon. And during that time, that same neighbor is shooting at your child who's gone to tell him. So tell me, are we not taking risk by sending our children in harm's way? We can destroy Gaza. We call it Gaza. In English, you call it Gaza. We can destroy it in a few minutes. It will not take any time, no time. We have the technology, we have the means. But why it's taking so long? Because when an Israeli soldier fights, he knows behind him his family is there. He's fighting for them to keep them safe. When we are fighting Hamas, Hamas is keeping his children on the top and hiding underneath the tunnels. So now tell me, should I just send my child, last remaining child, to fight Hamas, or should I use the cannon? So we are still using morality. We are still using what they say, proportionality.
Mhm.
I hate these words because no one, when his family is targeted
Always.
by even a firecracker, I will throw a firecracker at your home. I want to see you not coming out to fight. They are sending rockets to our hospitals, to our kindergartens, to our homes. So what do you want us to say? UN, please help us. Red Cross, please help us. The Red Cross has not even met one hostage.
Yep.
Not one hostage. They don't even know what is their condition. In what condition are they kept? What is their health? How many are dead? You know, we are fighting this war. It's unfair because people put Jews and even Hindus on another level when they fight. No, don't do this. It's not good. You all are good people. You all should behave. I say F to all those guys because my children, there's a saying in Arabic, may a thousand mothers shed tears on their children than my mother shed on my child or me. But still we are using, morality. We could have left these hostages to their fate. We could have said, okay, 1,500, 1,400, another 200. No, we are not like them. We will take risk. We will bring them back. We will cry. We will hug them. Little Abigail, 3 years old, only with her brother and sister now in this whole huge world. We will hug her, but we will fight for her future. Enough is enough.
Mm.
We have come to a point when you have said enough is enough. We had a saying after the Holocaust, never again. And what happened in Israel that we failed to, to uplift this sentence. We had a massive failure that day, intelligence. We had a massive failure on all fronts. But people should know in Israel, we have, every army has a regular army. On that day, the regular army was in the bases. Most of them were non-combatants. They didn't know how to use even a weapon. And it was a festival time. So if suppose 100 should be in that base, during festivals, it's 50. So Hamas knew what day they were taking this
Mm.
action. And you have the reserves. Reserve army is people like me. It takes time to gather a reserve army to respond to the situation. But there is a third army which Hamas didn't know about and the world doesn't know about. That third army is the army of people. Tzava Ha'am in Hebrew it is called. It is people, regular people in their homes with their side guns, with pistols against RPGs, Kalashnikovs, grenades. They left their homes. Some people drove 60 to 70 kilometers to a settlement which was attacked to fight. And this army of people were the ones who turned the tide that day. Because Hamas, we have their plans with us, the maps pointing each and every Israeli city from Gaza to Tel Aviv. They could have penetrated. So, if you believe in a divine intervention, it was also there, but there was one intervention that nobody knew. It was the regular Israeli people who fought with their hands, with the side guns, and we were fighting them, and we kept them at bay. And then the regular army came into action.
Hmm.
So today we are living, Gaza is 60 some kilometers from my home. You can hear the thunder of the bombs which are dropped on Gaza. The windows shatter here at my home. But it's now our brave soldiers are there fighting there so that we can live peacefully here. We can go to the mall, we can go to the even the cinema, but we have children, we have our brothers, we have our sisters who are still in harm's way. So my Indian brothers, I want to let you all know, ये लोग लातों के भूत है, ये बातों से नहीं मानेंगे. इनको जो लात पड़ेगी ना, तभी इनका दिमाग नहीं, उनका ब्रेन हम बाहर लेंगे. दिमाग में जो भेजा है ना, उसको बाहर लाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि इनको अगर जिंदा छोड़ा तो ये हमको आप वापस आके डसेंगे. ये सांप भी नहीं है, ये लोग तो सांप भी नहीं है. सांप भी पलट के मार वार करता है, मगर उसको पता है कभी भागना है. ये काटेंगे, वापस आके फिर हमें डसेंगे. अगर इनका हमने कुछ किया नहीं, तो फिर हमें यहाँ जीने की कुछ वजह नहीं है. वी हैव टू फाइट फॉर द सर्वाइवल. और हमें और भी एक चीज पता है. इन द नॉर्थ देयर इज अ बिग 10 times bigger than Hamas, Hezbollah.
Mhm.
If these guys would have attacked us together on that day, I can assure you one thing: bloodshed would have been 10 times higher. Even we would have lost a lot of lives. But Lebanon today would have been in ashes. This is what I'm saying as an ex-army person who knows the psychic of our nation. But still, Hamas jumped the gun on that day. You know why? Because they wanted that festival which was going on, that international festival. International festival, they knew that there are going to be soft targets. Young girls, boys, having a good time. Nobody knows what danger is lurking around the bend. And then they started something which can, if I will tell my Indian friends, look it up, what happened in Kashmir
You know, I
during
must
independence.
I must say something. There are people who are commenting who've lost family members in terrorist attacks in India. Just letting you know.
So I want to tell them, see, from Israel's experience, you have to go on living. Because if you give the terrorists the satisfaction that they've disrupted your lives, they have won. And this is not a cliche,
Hmm.
this is life. For 75 years, Israel is living by the sword. As I said, our greeting is shalom, peace. But we have not even experienced one day of peace. I have sent my eldest also to the army. As a bereaved brother, I told him, yes, you have to join the army. You have to serve your nation. Tomorrow, my other two children also will have to join the army. They will go to the army. They will join. They will also serve the nation. This is what his life is in Israel. You Indians should kiss the feet of your soldiers. Because when we say soldiers, it's us. It is me, my child. But in India, that soldier is there on the border. Nobody knows who is it. What sacrifice is giving. But he's sacrificing a lot for y'all. That soldier is sacrificing his life when it needs to be. Y'all have lost three soldiers yesterday. Yesterday was 26/11. As someone born in India, I'm very close to India. I follow India. I care for India. And I'm saying, your security forces, your soldiers, these are holy guys. Nobody has told them. Like in Israel, they tell us, compulsory. Join. Okay. This is life. This is what we have to fight, which we have to give. Give, and sometimes, yes, my brother paid the sacrifice. But in India, nobody's forcing them. They go to the borders, they live their lives there in the heat, in the rain. And when something happens like 26/11, then people say, oh, where were the NSA and where were this and that and the Marcos? We also were looking for our guys. 6 to 7 hours, the army was not there. Each one was left to their own fate that, that day, a terrible day. And then even those peaceniks who used to curse the army, they used to say, these kibbutz, most of the kibbutz which were attacked, they had peaceniks.
Mhm.
These guys used to curse the army. They used to demonstrate against the army. I'm not going to like say today because unity was not there that day also. Before that day, Israel was divided. People should know it.
Yes.
Israel was divided into right and left. We were on the verge of a civil war. It came to this that elite units, even in the Air Force pilots, they were like insubordinate. Politics moved inside the army. Brother was telling brother that if tomorrow, if you're in harm's way, I'm not sure the Air Force will come to pick you up. These were the days before the 7th. And then the enemy saw that we were not united. We forgot that we had an enemy. We forgot that we had a monster on our doorsteps. We were like all against one another. You're from the right, you're from the left, the judiciary, Bibi, Netanyahu, he should resign, he should not resign. All politics was going on. When things were getting good, people don't respect that the enemy is watching, learning you. For 2 years, Hamas had planned this attack. If someone thinks that this was because of that corridor from Mumbai through Saudi
Mhm.
to Jordan these things take time. They had decided they are going to kill. Just like the one terrorist you all had released. What was his name in Kandahar?
Hmm.
Jaish Muhammad, what was his name?
Mullah Omar.
Mullah Umar, Sinwar, Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, was
22
also
years.
exchanged. He was also in Israel prison. I was one who took him to the border.
Ah, you might hate yourself right now. I can imagine.
No, 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 because we caught that soldier when we got back. 1,027 terrorists
27.
were released for one soldier,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
we
know.
cried for that soldier. We knew it is going to become a danger for us in the future, but we respect life. We worship life in Israel. We know the cost of pogroms. Jewish nation has 2000 plus years suffered before we got a nation. Today, what Indians say, and my Indian friends tell me, you Israelis, y'all are so strong, y'all are so this and that and that. Guys, it took us 2 years to come to our senses that we should have a good army, a strong army, because if not, what happens? And you can get an example what happened on 7th of October. So you Indians also should be united. Brother can tell a brother that he's in argument, it's all right. But you cannot tell your brother that you hate him, because it was hate in Israel before the 7th. Is people who are not watching Israel closely should know that the word civil war was being talked in the media because people were so full of themselves that we have a strong army, we have technology, we have
Yeah.
this and we have that, we have this and that. But no, nothing came to our aid when that day these monsters tore into our settlements, raped our girls, our women, killed our children, beheaded them, because I hate it when I watch it. Like, people are saying these things didn't happen. Hamas was using GoPro cameras to show the world what is going on. In Israel, you all should be surprised that we don't even talk about what happened that day. We are not in denial, but we don't talk. We have suffered so much that we all say, okay, it happened. What we are
We'll
going
talk.
to do is what matters next.
We'll
What
talk
we are
after we
going to do
finish
is
the
what,
game.
what going to matter. And now
Yeah.
Israel is now, we are taking, we are hugging our hostages who are coming back, because we said, okay, at least take one, those which we can release, but don't make a mistake. The war will go on. If we stop this war, as an Israeli, as one who knows his history, I can tell you one thing: we have no right to live here then, because in another 10 years or 5 years, Hamas will come back, or some other. We should show them that what has happened, they should know the consequences. If Israel would have wanted, we would have wiped Gaza from the map. This is not just a saying, but still, we are telling the civilians leave. We are telling the Gazans to leave. You know how much it's cost for a laser guided bomb to be dropped? It is much more costlier than a dud bomb. But we are using laser bombs. We are spending money that non-combatants should not be killed. Collateral damage. Where was collateral damage when our children were murdered? Who was there to cry for them? And today, the world is still forgetting. Today, we are speaking about the suffering in Gaza. I even cry for the Gazan children. You know that? Because you are not a human when you see a small child who has splinters or blood on his forehead. You are not a human. Even what we have suffered,
You still,
We can
yeah.
say, okay, they deserve it. No, we still tell them, leave. But if Hamas holds them back, takes them as human shields, so what should we do? Should we call upon the UN? Foolish are those who think that the UN will even pick a finger for us,
Or even
for
pick up your
anyone.
phone call.
They're irrelevant. Okay? What would you do in if tomorrow India would have been attacked by hordes of monsters? 1 to 2 lakh people would have been slaughtered. So I'd say, you know, don't take it from me. Take it from the Hamas. They are saying they want to kill us. What should I do? What would you do if that killer is on your doorstep? What would you do? Would you call the police or would you fight him or try to neutralize him at the best? Okay? I have my own personal revolver, and on that day, that terrible day, if you go to sleep with your revolver under your pillow, you can understand what was going on through each Israeli's mind. Because we didn't know how many have entered Israel, how many are lurking in the dark, how many are there. Because when an enemy wants to kill you and die in the process, you cannot do anything. He's dead. What can you do to an enemy who wants to die? He wants 72 virgins. Okay? What he has been taught. What can you do to fight such an enemy? What we will do after that? Okay. But he's there to kill me and get killed in the process. So I should die. I should give sacrifice of my children to say, okay, see, we will compromise. We will do a peace deal. We will do this and we will do that. No. As they say, they drew first blood. Hamas drew first blood on the 7th.
Yep.
And now Israel will respond.
The last one has
Israel
to
will
be Israel.
respond, and it will respond without taking care what the world says. Because the world, I prefer that the world will hate me when I'm winning, then cry for me when I'm dead. I prefer hate me when I'm winning, but I will not die that you should cry for me. No, we are not that. And if these are freedom fighters, like I hear, Hamas are freedom fighters. Which freedom fighter, which religion says that you can rape? Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Israel is to blame for occupation,
Hmm.
for disproportionate. Who says that rape is allowed? Who says the beheading of children is allowed? Who says taking of hostages is allowed? Which religion? The Muslims should be first to say that we disown Hamas. They should be the first because they use the words of Allahu Akbar during rape, during beheading of children and burning them alive. Those who do not disown them, for me, they are worst because Hamas knows they have people who will support them no matter what. So, what should we do in Israel? We should turn the other cheek? No. There is a saying in Israel, Abale orgecha, ashkim lorgo. The one who is coming to kill you, rise and kill him first. This is a Jewish saying. Because if not, then don't say. We will fight. And I hope my Indian brothers and sisters also watching us should know that whatever happens in Israel, in within 6 months or 1 year, India will have to take the same, because they take example from each other. Stone peltings are going on in the first Intifada. Suddenly in Kashmir, stone pelting brought
Mm.
on. They started sending drones in Israel. Suddenly in Kashmir, you had drones. They built tunnels. Now you are finding tunnels on the Punjab border and Kashmir.
Yeah.
So I want to warn my Israeli brothers, Indian brothers and sisters, guys, you don't have to suffer to learn. We have suffered for that. But take a lesson from us. Take a lesson from what Israel is going through. Because if you will not take it, then you will live it. We had girls fighting that day. I want to tell you,
Yeah.
we had female soldiers who proved their worth in blood, in lives. There was a first in the history of warfare, that a crew of four women soldiers in a tank fighting for 17 hours straight. 17 hours straight on that day with RPGs, mortars, bullet fire, trying to kill them. What would have happened to these foes? You don't even imagine. These girls fought and they saved an whole settlement from being overrun. There was an Indian origin soldier, non
Died.
commissioned officer. She too was killed in her base fighting the terrorists face to face. She's from my city, an Indian origin. Her parents were from India.
Yeah.
So that day taught us a lot of lessons. What not and what if. These lessons were learned in blood. In blood, we have learned these lessons. Blood had to flow for us to know that we were not united that day. On the 6th, everyone went to sleep. I am against you, you are against me, I hate you, you hate me, and the enemy was happy. So Indians should know, you two have only one nation. Golda Meir said these words, that Israel's secret is we have nowhere to go. Where do Hindus have to go?
Nowhere.
If you all think you all can live abroad, have an education in the United States, in Europe, guys, us Jews have been there and done that. And still you can ask any Jew, where is he safe? Where he feels safe? He will say Israel or India. I am the one who has been a witness to that. Never in my life I knew what is anti Semitism. When I migrated to Israel, I could hear my friends saying, our parents suffered in Europe, in Poland, in Germany, and this and that. And I used to say, we in India didn't even know what is anti Semitism, because the Indians are good people. But don't let that be taken advantage of. Better to be prepared than to be sorry. Indians should know that what I am again repeating it. What is happening in Israel will be soon repeated in India if they are not deterred. Lessons should be learned, guys. Lessons should be learned. We, us Jews, are suffering now, but at least learn from what we are going through, what we have gone through. Don't say that tomorrow it happened to us and then we came to learn. No.
Yeah.
Such a long history of both Judaism and Sanatan. Both are so similar. Festivals, Diwali, during that time we have Hanukkah. Both are festivals of light. Purim and Holi come together. Purim also is celebration of colors and happiness. Same like Holi. We have a very common enemy. Let's call it by name. Radical Islam. Not Islam, radical Islam.
Radical Islam.
Because not all Muslims are the same.
You
You
have
would be
20%. We
surprised
have
to know
20%. Yeah.
You will be surprised to know I've fought with Muslims soldiers in the Israeli army shoulder to shoulder. Shoulder to shoulder. And you know, these Hamas and the Palestinians, they hate them more than us because they see them as, you know, Jews can be killed, but these guys are collaborating with the Jews. These are worst. So these guys, I asked them, why are you doing this? Why you joined the army? And my very dear friend told me it was, when ISIS was rampaging in Iraq and Syria. He said, when I saw what was happening to these people, the Yazidis and Christians and others, Kafirs, they were drowning them, they were beheading them. He said, this was not my Islam. And then he joined the Israeli army to prove to himself that I am not that Islam, which rapes, slaughters. And then he said, Ofer, this is when I joined the Israeli army. And I'm proud to be a soldier. Bedouins, Druze, Christians. Yeah, we have Christians. We have people from abroad joining the IDF who are not Jewish, but they volunteer service in our army. They want to volunteer because each and everyone learned a lesson. If you all want to learn it through us, good. If India doesn't learn a lesson, then we'll meet here and we'll talk. Somebody else will be talking to us from India.
Yeah, you'll probably call me on the show then. you know. No, I must say thank you so much for this story. I want to ask you one little thing, and after that, there we've got almost 1,500 people sitting with us. There are so many questions, so many comments, and let me just say this: the kind of support I can see in the comments. I wish you could see these comments, and you will realize what people in India are saying. Because हम लोग एक ही जगह से हम लोग बने हैं. हमारा जो हिस्ट्री कश्मीर में हुआ है हमारे साथ 47 48 में 65 में 71 में उसके बाद फिर से 99 में वही करने आ रहे थे 26/11 में हमारे साथ क्या हुआ है सेम थिंग हैपेंस अगेन एंड अगेन एंड आप ये देखो कल परसों में हमारा जो एक सोल्जर का 3 सोल्जर्स का डेथ हुआ है वन ऑफ देम इज अ मुस्लिम स्पेशल
Yeah,
फोर्सेस ठीक है ही गेव हिज लाइफ फॉर दिस कंट्री यू कैन इमेजिन उसका फैमिली में क्या वो कश्मीर का है उसका उसका फैमिली में क्या होगा इट्स लॉस इज अ लॉस इज अ लॉस इज अ लॉस जो मर्जी कह लीजिए बच्चा हर किसी
सबका
माँ को
same.
प्यारा होता है ठीक है सो इट इज वेरी वेरी दिस थिंग एंड मैं एक चीज आपसे पूछूंगा आपका अपना एक्सपीरियंस फाइटिंग विद हमास क्या ये लड़ सकते हैं कि ये भागते हैं क्योंकि हमारे जो ये हमारे साथ में जो है ना पाकिस्तानी इनमें लड़ने का दम नहीं है
सेम है, हमारे
जब
यहाँ भी
भागना
वही
शुरू
है.
होते हैं ना तो भाग जाते हैं वहां से फिर
हमारे यहाँ वही है. उनको एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था. अबू मरजूक एक नाम है बंदा, हमास का बड़ा लीडर है,
हम्म
छुपा है और लेबनान में छुपा है, वहां से बात कर रहा है, बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहा है। वो कह रहा है कि जो टनल्स है ना हमारे गाजा में, वो हमारे फाइटर्स के लिए, ऊपर जो है उनको यूएन देखेगा, वर्ल्ड देखेगी। ये लोग डरपोक है, ये दूसरों के बच्चों को बेचते हैं लड़ने के लिए, और जब दूसरे का बच्चा मरता है या उसको मार पड़ती है, ये पहले रोएंगे।
हम्म,
उसकी माँ भी नहीं रोएंगी जितना ये लोग रोएंगे। और इनके साथ कौन रोता है? बीबीसी, सीएनएन। अभिजीत अय्यर ने कुछ कहा था उस दिन कि इजराइल इज फाइटिंग विद एन एयरफोर्स विद सोल्जर्स, हमास इज फाइटिंग विद सीएनएन एंड बीबीसी ऑन दैट साइड।
हमारा भी
ये
यही
लोग
हाल है।
डरपोक है।
हम्म,
इस सिनवार को मैंने खुद, सिनवार मेरे हाथ में था, मेरे हाथों में था ये बंदा। इसको हमने, ही हैड कैंसर, ब्रेन कैंसर।
ट्रीटमेंट
ओके,
कराए।
उसका ट्रीटमेंट हमने हमारे इस पे एक्सपेंस पे, और हमारे जो बंदे हैं सिविलियंस, उनकी लाइन उसको क्रॉस करने दी, उनसे पहले उसको दिया प्रायोरिटी, एंड वी सेव्ड हिम।
एंड
सो
उसकी
टेल मी
बेटी का
हु
भी
इज
ट्रीटमेंट
फुलिश?
कराए। उसकी बेटी का भी ट्रीटमेंट कराए।
उसकी बहन। अब हाँ, मगर एक ही चीज है आदि, ये लोग अपने बच्चों को बहुत चाहते हैं। इनके बच्चों को देखो, पाकिस्तान में भी, दे आर ऑल अब्रॉड,
हम्म।
दे आर ऑल अब्रॉड। मरता है, गरीब का बच्चा मरेगा। हमारे यहाँ सब कहते हैं जान देनी पड़ेगी तो जाना पड़ेगा आगे, सबको। उस दिन मैं अपना खुद का रिवॉल्वर लेके बैठा था कि अगर कोई आ जाएगा तो यार लपेटूंगा किनको। आई हैड, कह नहीं सकता हूँ कितनी बुलेट्स थी, बहुत थे। बट जस्ट थिंक व्हाट हैपेंस टू अ पर्सन व्हेन वी हैज टू टेल हिज वाइफ दैट इफ गॉड फॉरबिड उस दिन अगर हमारे बच्चों को उठा के ले जाने का टाइम आएगा, तो 4 बुलेट जो है ना, समझ जाओ, ये दिन किसी को नहीं देखना पड़ेगा। मगर उस दिन हम पे बीती, उस दिन को हमारे पर बहुत बीती। सबने अपना अपना विल बना के रखा था उस दिन। Israel is fighting a war for survival. We have two goals as given by the government. First, and I'm saying first, is to finish Hamas off. Second, get all the hostages back. And we are sure that most of the hostages are alive, but there are also dead people in them. We are not stupid. We know किन किन की मौत हो गई है, उन्होंने भी खुद मारा है उनको लेके। We had old people, elderly people there who had medical conditions, and they had no proper medical this in custody of the Hamas custody. क्या कह सकते हैं इसको?
हार्ट ब्रेकिंग।
मेरे भाई
लेट।
के खुद के, मेरा खुद के भाई का जो किलर है, 2 थे उस रात। एक मारा गया 11 महीनों के बाद, और एक पकड़ा गया उसी दिन। और प्रिजन में वो हमास का नंबर 2 टॉप ऑफिशियल है प्रिजनर्स का, यानी उसकी बहुत चलती है। और मेरे दोस्तों ने मुझे आके कहा, देख ये जो बंदा है ना, उस रात जब तेरा भाई मारा गया था, ये वो है एक। तो मैंने कहा मैं क्या करूं, मैं क्या कर सकता हूं? अगर मैं इनडिसिप्लिन्ड आर्मी में रहता था तो यू वुड हैव, बट वी आर डेमोक्रेसी, एंड डेमोक्रेसी हैज their own guidelines, their borders. Even if we want to rampage, nobody will make us do it. The world is still against us. How many lives should be lost, Israeli lives, before someone will say, यार ये हमास लोग को हटाओ? Because today what is happening? इजरायली लोग को हटाओ यार आजा से. हम लोग हमारे इससे नहीं गए आजा में. One sunny day we decided okay we'll go inside Aza. ये कुछ बात भी
Hmm.
चल रही, उधर कुछ गैस है सी में, ये वो सब आलतू फालतू लगा के रखा है सब
Stupid.
रीजंस, प्रोपोगंडा. ये कुछ नहीं है. उस दिन हमें जाना पड़ा, और अगर हम नहीं जाते थे अंदर, मैं आज आपके साथ नहीं बात नहीं कर रहा था करता था. आई एम रियली टेलिंग यू. वो लोग मारने मरने पे तुले हैं. अगर वो तुमको मारेगा और आप बाद में आप उसके ऊपर ए बॉम्ब भी डाल दो, कुछ फायदा पड़ने वाला है? अगर मैं और मेरी फैमिली यहाँ रहेगी नहीं, so what will happen if I even kill 10,000 of them on each and every Israeli? Today we are releasing three terrorists
Per one.
for one Israeli. For two bodies, we released 50 or something hardcore terrorists to Hezbollah. कितना कितना सहन करना पड़ेगा? कितना हम सहेंगे कि दुनिया कहेगी यार कोई तो हमास से पूछो, कोई तो हमास से पूछो. इतनी तो रीढ़ की हड्डी चाहिए बंदे के अंदर कि हमास से पूछो, अरे यार ये इजराइलीज के पास अपने शेल्टर्स है, ये वो सब देख रहे, आपके पास क्या है अपने सिविलियंस के लिए? पंगा लिया है ना हमसे. वो भी मेरा फॉल्ट है. अब मैं जाके उसको मारूं? जैसा मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था मेरे नेबर का, मैं मेरे और बच्चों को भेजूं वहां मरने के लिए, दिखाने के लिए दुनिया को कि देखो हम कितने सत्यवादी है. बॉस, ये सत्यवादी, ये सब डायलॉग्स ना फिल्म में अच्छे लगते हैं.
Hmm.
जब अपने पे बीतती है ना, तो कुत्ता कुत्ते को काटता है. ये सब डायलॉग फिल्म में अच्छे लगते हैं. उरी में दिखाया है ना वो फिल्म, जब वो गर्ल सैल्यूट करती है, मेरे भी आंखों में आंसू आए थे. मैंने अब खुद की अपने भाई की बलि दी है, मगर मैं समझ सकता हूँ उन पे क्या बीत रही है. मोरालिटी, प्रोपोर्शनेट, ये सब वर्ड्स, these are for statesmen, not for us people. मुझे भी मेरा भाई चाहिए था जिंदा. मेरी माँ उस दिन बहुत रो रही थी जब मेरा भाई जब मरा, उसको मारा था. बहुत रो रही थी, 24 years old, बहुत रो रही थी. मगर एक चीज हो गई जो मेरी माँ उसके स्टॉप हो गई. क्या? एक कपल आई हमारे पास. 7 days of mourning we have in Jewish religion. So on the third day, she was crying for 3 days straight. And on the third day, a couple came with a small baby, and they left the baby on the ground, and she crawled in my mother's arms because we sit on the floor during, it's called Shiva,
Hmm.
when we
Shiva.
sit for the dead on the floor. And
Hmm.
she crawled in my mother's arms, and my mother, like, she was surprised, what is this small baby doing in my arms? So the couple approached her and they said, we are thankful for your son's sacrifice, because we live in that settlement which they wanted to come inside, and we drove 10 minutes before that incident happened with my brother. So when my mother took that baby in her arms and she saw that the sacrifice her son made was for that baby to live and more babies like that to live in that settlement, she stopped crying because she knew the worth of his sacrifice. We know the worth of each and every life. I will challenge you to see the film, the reels of our hostages, small children coming back into the arms of their fathers or mothers, and sometimes even the father and mother is not there because they don't know it. An uncle is embracing her, or a close family relative is hugging her. If you don't cry, if you don't have tears in your eyes, किस पत्थर के बने हो आप?
Can't watch that. Can't watch that.
So we put a big rock on our hearts and we said we will stop the fighting, not because we are giving our soldiers to rest. The soldiers to yesterday, Bibi Netanyahu was in Gaza, and the soldiers told him one inequitable thing to do: keep the fighting going on unless Hamas is destroyed. Because if Bibi doesn't listen to the citizens, he will be toppled at best from his office, or someone
Five
will take
minutes.
action.
Absolutely.
Because each and every Israeli knows one thing: ये लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानने वाले। इनको लात पड़ेगी और इनको कुचलना पड़ेगा हमको। ऐसी लात नहीं फुटबॉल की तरह उड़ाया तो बाहर जाके वापस आएगा। इनको कुचलना पड़ेगा हमारे पैरों के नीचे, और वो हमारी आर्मी करती है और करेगी। करना ही पड़ेगा। अभी 2 दिन का ट्रूस मांगा है वो लोग ने, हमास ने। क्यों? क्योंकि उनको बहुत दया आ रही है हमारे बच्चों पे, हमारे
Hmm.
होस्टेजेस पे। नहीं, नहीं, नहीं,
फटी
नहीं।
पड़ी है.
वो 2 दिन उनको सांस लेनी है। उनको जो अंदर फूड आ रहा है, एड आ रहा है, फ्यूल आ रहा है, उनको अपने टनल्स में डालना है, उनके लोगों को बांटना है। ऊपर का आदमी जो सिविलियन है उनका मरे तो मरे, और कहेंगे यार यू नो when they are saying 14,000, 15,000 Palestinians are killed, who is going to verify that number? As I told you before, you can look it up. I could have said 12,000 Jews were killed that day. कौन आ रहा है देखने को? फेंकेगा नंबर, फेंकता हूं। They are throwing numbers each and every day. They are throwing 15,000. अरे यार कितने मरते फिर? लास्ट टाइम 12,000 मरे थे, उससे पहले 10,000 कितने गाजा में? और what we are doing? Genocide is not that when the population starts growing.
By
What is this
17%.
genocide which they are talking about? Genocide of the Palestinians. This is not genocide, brother. Genocide is what Jews suffered during World War II. Genocide on a small scale was what happened to us on the 7th of October, when civilians were murdered in their beds, burnt alive. Even today, we have bodies in the morgues. A specialist, they cannot identify ये किसकी बॉडी है, बंदे की बॉडी है कि किसी औरत की बॉडी है, किसी बच्चे की बॉडी है। इतनी गर्मी थी, because when you light the fire, the body still remains, the skeleton remains, but when you put special material which makes the fire worse, the body melts. कुछ रहता नहीं है। बंदे का जो सिर है ऐसा छोटा हो जाता है कि मालूम पता नहीं चलता है ये किसी मर्द का है या किसी बच्चे का है या किसी औरत का है, वो भी नहीं कह सकते, क्योंकि कौन है डीएनए देने के लिए? डीएनए भी नहीं बचा है। इतनी बर्बरता उन लोग ने हमसे की। And you must be knowing, I am not crying like the Palestinians. मैं यहाँ आके रोना नहीं हूं। मैं पहले से भी कह सकता था हमको ऐसा किया, वैसा किया, इसको मारा, इसको रेप किया, इसको किया, बहुत रोता था। पैलेस्टीनियंस का वही रोना होता है। नहीं, मैं यहाँ हूं आपके साथ बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट, यू नो वॉट, यस, I want my Indian brothers and sisters to be educated about what is happening, because those watching us now are intelligent people. I didn't know about Kashmir when I was in India. I didn't know what was Kashmiri Pandit is. But yes, I looked it up, and before Kashmir Files came to the cinemas, I knew about Kashmiri Pandits. So guys who are watching us now should know how ignorant or how education works. Ask yourselves, when did you come to know about Kashmiri Pandits? Before Kashmir Files, after Kashmir Files. Because after Kashmir Files are people who are not awake to what is happening in the world. Guys, we Jewish people are told each and every time, हम लोग कहते अरे हमारा फेस्टिवल्स भी है, इसने हमको नहीं मारा, वो मार नहीं सका, इसके लिए हमारा फेस्टिवल्स है. क्यों? Because they teach us. सीखो, learn, learn from your past. Just as I said, this good journal, big journal in Israel is saying, learn from your past, guys, because then your present is safe and you know what is going to happen with your future. But if not, your future is uncertain. That is what I tell my Indian friends even when I'm in India. मैं कहता हूँ देखो हम लोग ने बहुत लात खाए है, बहुत हमको बहुत सताया है. 2000 years दुनिया भर ने हमें उठा उठा के मारा है. फिर हमें ज्ञान आया, सीखे हम कुछ, अपना देश बनाया, उसके लिए मर मिटने की कसम खाई, सब कर रहे हैं. अरे तुम लोग का क्या होगा? मैं गुजराती, मैं मराठी, मैं ये, मैं वो, ये वे. अरे यार वो लोग आएंगे ना, हम लोग को हमारे पास जब आए थे वो लोग मारने के लिए, उन्होंने पूछा नहीं तू पीसनिक है, तू अरब्स को भी मारा, थाईलैंडी को भी मारा, नेपाली को मारा. After 50 days, they are releasing these Nepalis and these Thailandese. They didn't know that these guys have nothing to do with the conflict. कितना एंगर है आपके पास, कितना आपको ये है नफरत. I have not seen that film 40 to 42 to 45 minutes film which the Israeli government is showing foreign journalists. I will not see that because these are my brothers and sisters. I cannot see it. Magar if it takes that one person should awaken to what has happened to us, वो देखना पड़ेगा समझने के लिए. Will it take, because we showed the journalists, you know why we showed the journalists, Aadi? And we didn't show the other foreign diplomats before that? Because the journalists are the ones who are speaking against Israel all over the world. But I saw journalists in India. In India today, I saw one journalist, he said, I have seen that film. आपको पता है क्या याद आया जब मैंने सुना? एक सॉन्ग है ना दिलीप कुमार का, लुट रहा था किसी का जहां, देखती रह गई ये जमीन, चुप रहा बेरहम आसमां. ये आपके साथ भी नहीं होना चाहिए बॉस. उस दिन जमीन और आसमां दोनों चुप थे. Wake up. We have woken up. I'm telling you, Adi, we still have that. We have still people in Israel who want to speak to the Hamas. ये हमारे पास भी है वो बंदे, लातों के जो बातों से नहीं मानते. उनके खुद को बच्चों को उठाया है, उनके खुद को मर्दों को मारा है, औरतों को रेप किया है, मगर वो कह रहे नहीं यार पीस. अरे कितना यार, कितना कितना दोगे? मेरी भी बलि दोगे? मैंने नो. फॉर पीस इफ यू वांट गिव योर ओन सैक्रिफाइस. मर्द बनो, बी राइचस, give your own sacrifice. Why you're sacrificing my family and me? I hope people are understanding what I'm saying, because I'm saying it from the heart. I'm saying it from my heart because India has not, I have left India, and I always say India has not left me. I care for that nation where I was brought up, I was born, bred. When I first came to India 10 years after I left India, it happened on the same day, 10 years after. You know where I went first? To my old school, to my teachers. Tell them thank you. Thank you for giving me the discipline. Thank you for the education that you all gave me. Me and my brother, we were both in the same school. We were the only Jews. And we went to the teacher. One of the teachers, he recognized us and he started crying. because he said, after 10 years, you're thinking about me. I said, yes, sir. This is education. But Indians are too good, too timid, too mild. अरे यार मेरे पे नहीं बीत रही है यार, छोड़ो यार, वो किधर हो रहा है, जिधर हो रहा है। गाइस, अगर हम if we don't succeed, be sure 100%, take it from me. Like Adi said, I will interview him then.
थैंक यू सर, लेट मी जस्ट से दिस, आपने अपना स्टोरी बताया, ट्रस्ट यू मी, पीपल आर द आउटपोरिंग ऑफ कमेंट्स दैट आर कमिंग हियर। मैंने इतने कमेंट्स किसी भी लाइव स्ट्रीम में नहीं देखे हैं अभी तक, सो trust you me, the kind of comments that are coming in, people have appreciated your emotion, your आपने जो बताया है हमको, what you've told us and how you've taken us through the story, my hats off. It's honestly, I don't have much words to say, so I'm just not going to say anything, because I don't want to say anything that will just ruin the entire, this thing. We'll take a
Sorry, you
few
can ask
questions,
anything
guys.
because I want the Indian audience to ask us. Yes, learn, as
No,
I said always,
I
I'm
will,
saying it,
as I
learn from us.
as we were talking, guys, I will get him back. We will do more shows because हमको सीखना है इसके बारे में. मैं थोड़े से questions लूंगा. I'll take a few questions from the audience. And audience से पहले यार, guys, this video needs to be liked by every one of us sitting here. ठीक है, including me. Okay, so there are 1672 people as I read right now. There are 1200 likes. This thing needs to be liked by everyone. तो बाकी सब तो छोड़ दो यार. Please like this video. ठीक है, the likes need to go exponentially so that the likes is what helps the video grow. Okay, so please do that so that more people can actually see this video. I've been trying to do an Israel update every 2 days. A lot of you have appreciated what I've been doing, but to hear it from someone from Israel and to hear it that I was doing good analysis is also a big booster. Thank you so much for that. But please like the video, right? And that's what I want you guys to do. And let's get into some questions, guys. Let's take some super chats and we'll take a few questions. And so I'll request you, we'll just keep the answers crisp so that we can, involve more people. And सबसे पहले जी, भास्कर जी बोरा जी, thank you so much for becoming a member. Second, JP, thanks so much. He says, great episode, Adi bhai. How many Indian Israelis are there around right now?
Around 10,000 to that
There are
roundabout
total
figure.
of 60,000 Jews in India right now.
I'm not sure. I think it's much less.
They did some survey some time ago, 2 3 years ago, where a report had come out. The total of 60,000 people in India. So
I think the tribes also in the north, if you count them, yeah.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट में है ना,
Menashe.
बहुत सारे हैं वहां पर.
Northeast. Oh, that's you're right.
KSV Prasad ji, when doctrine, thank you so much firstly. KSV Prasad says, when doctrine itself entitles them to stoop to any low, show no mercy to such Islamic rot.
We cannot
Anything
take
that
it
you'd
by
like to say?
emotions now. We have
Yeah.
to use our brains.
Guys, this is a very interesting thing इन्होंने बोला है, तो इसको जरा ध्यान से, I'd like to just take 10 seconds more. मैं रोज बोलता हूँ ये चीज अपने शोज में, इमोशनल मत हो. डोंट बी इमोशनल, थिंक फ्रॉम योर हेड, अदरवाइज वी विल बी टेकन फॉर अ राइड. बिकॉज हमारे भारत में ना, इन सबको पता है, वी आर मोर इमोशनल देन एनीथिंग एल्स. सो हम लोग बड़े गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट वी डोंट रियलाइज हाउ टू रिएक्ट टू थिंग्स. तो मेरा एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है, बार बार आई कीप टेलिंग पीपल, तो मैं हाथ जोड़ के रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ यार, प्लीज स्टॉप गेटिंग इमोशनल अबाउट थिंग्स. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, इमोशंस को थोड़ा साइड में रखना है, तभी दिमाग चलेगा और क्लैरिटी से आप कुछ करेंगे. अदरवाइज डब्बे में घुसेंगे और कुछ नहीं होगा. संजय शर्मा जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर कंट्रीब्यूशन. Average middle class gamer, thank you so much. How can I sympathize with Palestinians, same Palestinians who were celebrating on 7th? I am emotional, angry. If it were me, I would have scorched the earth. This may be heartless. I don't care. Pakistanis and Palestinians will get no sympathy. You know,
I'm telling
I
you,
can
don't
keep.
hate them because I'm telling you. Don't hate them. Hate that ideology. Hate the support from what they are getting the strength. Media, academy. Go and confront them. Ask anyone who says that I'm just telling you one question. I'm giving you for the audience. If someone says this thing to them, ask them one thing. Is Hamas a terrorist organization? If there's no yes and no answer, it is no. If they start making excuses, if someone rapes, someone kills babies, and I know what the counter is. Israel is doing the same, dropping bombs. थोड़ा पीछे जाके देखो, boss. We could have wiped Gaza. We are using laser bombs, which are much expensive. So ask each and every person if you think he is doesn't know what's happening. Ask them: Is Hamas a terrorist organization? Yes or no? अगर वो बिल बिला जाएगा कि उनके
Story
साथ
over.
है, कहना नहीं चाह रहे.
Hmm. Ravi Malhotra ji, thank you so much. World is getting conquered by a doctrine is a sad irony. I think he's hit
Yep.
this spot on. I must say compliments to you, sir, for this thought. Fantastic thought.
Of
Complete
course.
whack job says, Hi, Gabriel. We stand with the land and people of Israel. My question to you is, how are the people of Israel looking at TikTok now? And what is the plan to counter this propaganda?
When he has spoken about TikTok complete whack job, I will tell you, in Israel, when the war started, people were saying this is TikTok generation. How will they fight? How will this generation go to war? TikTok को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा बॉस. हम लोग के soldiers, they are proving their worth, they are giving their lives. But वो खड़े पड़े.
नहीं वो
कैसे
है
कहते खड़े.
बट जो 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 मेंटल
टिक
इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन हुआ है वेस्ट में
हाँ.
टिकटॉक के चक्कर में वो बहुत डेंजरस है जो आप कॉलेज व्हाट यू सीइंग ऑन द स्ट्रीट
India was right to ban TikTok.
उस टाइम पे बहुत गाली निकाली थी मोदी साहब को अभी सब बोलता है थैंक गॉड थैंक
This
गॉड
is
बच गए
this is his foresight.
Anikesh, sir, we are sure that Israel will win this war on ground, but what about the war online? See, the overall public
I want to
sentiment,
tell you
especially in the
one
West, is
thing.
please.
I'm saying, you know what is happening? There is a change in the tide online because Indians like Mr. Akesh, they are supporting us online. And this is what I am telling you now. What I've heard from Palestinians. They are angry with India because 1 billion people are equalizing that this online.
Yeah.
So why we have 1 billion people on our side? We are lucky. We are so lucky to have you all on our side. Not because of TikTok, because of your love for us. And then everything else comes. Your support, your prayers. Yes, when I watch Indians praying for Israel, that makes a difference.
It does, absolutely. Deepak Jagtap says, ask Gabriel, after this truce, will Israel finish the rest of Gaza? I hope.
We have no option. We have no option. We have taken at a maximum of the north. The south is a challenge because 2 million or so civilians are there. Where to move them into Sinai, or we have to put some refugee camps there because हम लोग गोली बारूद मारेंगे मरेंगे वो भी हमारे ऊपर फिर हम उसको कोई पूछता नहीं है ये क्यों मरे in the first instance. Okay, but it is challenge. But no, we will have to fight because Bibi Netanyahu and this government will not last even if we get that hint Yet we are not going through this till the end.
Let me tell you, Gabriel, you've got so many dinner invitations. If ever you come to India, trust you me, there's so many of them. Guys will. Okay, so you have about 1,400 dinners that you can have. Taraji, thank you so much. Question SN: what is the public sentiment about the wokeism that has set in certain sections in Israeli society that must have caused Israel the greatest weakness in its history?
You are so right. Wokeism has played a large role for the day to come because there was a concept in Israel, and there are still people who are in support of Hamas in Israel, yeah, because they are saying we are bad, we are killing the children. Wokeism is a great weakness to any society. That is my own personal thought, and I think it makes it makes the enemy more bold. These are useful idiots. If you know what happens in the Soviet era intelligence, they used to use these guys for the propaganda and for the this. They are in academy, they are in media, and we have to be very, very sure that wokeism doesn't take over. This is what is happening in the United States today. Biden is still on a side, but he's watching what his base is moving, and his base has a lot of wokeism.
Kunal, you say a lot of us still don't get that line, never ever again. True?
It was used in the Holocaust by Menachem Begin, a late prime minister. Never again. Even India has its own never again in Kashmir.
In a lot of places.
Yeah, but Kashmir is one thing, it was like a systematic,
I'll tell you a
you know,
story. I'll tell you a small story. There's a there's a tower. There's a small monument which is there in Afghanistan on which it is written Nilame do dinar dakhtare Hindustan,
I know about it. When the Indian women and females were sold for 2 dinars.
right? So we know what has happened to us in history, and we've been facing this
Who
nonsense
know
for
it?
such a
Adi,
long
a
time.
lot of Indians don't know it.
Yeah,
That is the difference.
absolutely. That's the problem.
Your channel and other channels are educating today, yeah. I was in India. I never knew what is a Kashmiri Pandit. And I'm still telling people who know about Kashmir from Kashmir files, guys, कुछ तो पढ़ो, अभी तो पढ़ो कुछ about our
Absolutely,
history, your history.
absolutely, absolutely. And then, thank you so much. Why is the international media showing biased reports about after seeing 45 minutes of gruesome video, praying for the safety and well-being for our Jewish brothers and sisters?
International media is biased always.
Bias.
It has their own this, BBC is the worst, even for India and for Israel also. I follow BBC not because I want to know what venom they are saying about Israel and about India. And you can come to the conclusion they get their own. These guys have gone into academy. Wokeism, which we were saying, it went first in the educational system, academy, and then it came. These guys became today's journalist. These guys didn't learn; they were taught. Just like these guys, these killers who are taught about 72 virgins, they believe it because they have been educated on that. If your teacher comes and tells you if you tomorrow die by killing a Jew or a Hindu and you'll get 72 virgins in Jannat, तो क्या है this is education. We teach our children values, Indians and Israelis, but Islam and wokeism teaches them brainwash.
Absolutely.
Brainwash.
Sandeep, Israel's Arab neighbors want to see Hamas gone, but spun the role of governing Gaza afterwards. Hypocrisy had
This is
another
the third.
name.
This is the third political goal for the government. What happens with Gaza? But I can tell you one thing: Gaza will never be by security controlled only by Israel. It will not be controlled by any other entity. Civil administration from the world, or we will divide them up like the Emirates, okay, into small Emirates. That is for the future. Today, we have only two goals. जैसे अर्जुन की आंख थी फिश पे, इसके आइज पे, अर्जुन, we have two goals. First, destroy Hamas. Second, bring back the hostages.
Absolutely.
Those who are left and those who are dead.
Neeruji, Adi, how did Israel fail to foresee what's coming?
Because we were seeing our own selves inside. Because we were involved in politics. Politics didn't creep inside the army. Tore, they blew the door and entered the army. We had fighters, pilots who were saying we will not fly to Iran to hit it because of some judiciary reforms given by the Netanyahu government. So when an army soldier, the problem is India has a professional army. You will not know it. Here, every civilian goes to the army and then in the reserves. And if a pilot says, I will not fly to Iran to bomb the nuclear reactor
What do you do?
because X, Y, Z, so we deserved it. I am saying it, yes. It was a slap because we should take it as a lesson. We Israelis are taking it as a lesson what happens when you keep your eye
Off the
not
ball.
on the ball.
Absolutely. Is it true? Thank you so much. Will Israel buckle under international pressure, and when and how will Hamas be eradicated?
International pressure is how much pressure is the USA will bring upon us because these guys, yeah, they made a difference. With the two aircraft carriers and a nuclear submarine, they did a difference. Okay? Time, it will take a lot of time. Because if tomorrow the civilians are out of Gaza in within a week, but
Oh, that's
that population
you.
there, it will take
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And when those people who say that Hamas can be eradicated, but not that ideology, that this guys, even Nazism was an ideology. It was a superpower. Today, okay, they're on the fringe. It is there. I will not say that Nazism is not there. ISIS is not there. They have been eradicated. So we'll have to be alert. Eradication is a too strong word, but we have to be alert.
You
That
have to reduce the impact.
ideology will still be
Right.
there.
Vignesh, thank you so much. Salute to the children of David. Why some American Jewish sections like bankers and academics, deep state rallying with the Sino Wahhabi left? So my game is I say it's the Sino leftist Wahhabi alliance
Yeah.
run and funded by China.
China.
Leftists are the ground players and Wahhabi is the ideology. So it's sad that
Yeah.
you know Dr. Sonia Sinha. She says, I think people have to start thinking, where was I? Why was I not able to save my people, my family, my community? Learn some responsibility. Army is not responsible for everything. Jai Hind, hashtag IDF.
As I said, Dr. Sonia, when I began, that there are three armies in Israel. One is the regular, one is the reserve army, and one is the army of the people. And we were the ones with sidearms and the police on the road. And each and every fight we had that time, Adi, with people with Kalashnikovs, which RPGs and grenades, we were on the top.
Hmm.
Not because I'm saying it as an Israeli. Look it up. Because what matters is discipline. Each and every
Absolutely.
soldier is disciplined. Then that made the difference.
Maitri says, I just want to say Om Shanti first for the losses. How is the life of ordinary people in Israel? Who are the elements dividing people in Israel?
Life, I can say, last 4 days is like normal. Okay, we have the ceasefire, the truce. There is a difference between truce and ceasefire. So we have the truce. It can be extended for another 2 days.
It
So
is.
life is going on. Okay, no regular life is going on. Children are going to school, even in the south. People are starting to return to their settlements, which have not been affected like the ones where the massacre occurred. And dividing us people, media. Media is dividing us. Israeli media.
Interesting. Interesting. Uh, Nitin, hi, Gabriel sir. We are, the war we are fighting is a civilizational war where enemy hates us because of our religion.
Of course, he's right. He is right. This is a religious war. They have not killed us for being like, even if we would have, they have killed even Muslims. This is a religious war, no doubt.
Sonal ji, she says, after this, how will you fight the new generation of emerging terrorists? My real question: can the cycle ever end so that the Jews can have a life of peace and prosperity in Israel?
See, we earn for peace, but we have to be realistic. The first question is emerging terrorists. As I said, if we do not give them such a lesson that they will not forget for another 100 years, I'm saying 100 because the grandparents will also teach the grandchildren what happened when Israel was attacked and when Israel attacked back. So that lesson should be learned by them. We have learned a lesson, but they will also learn it and they will teach their children that don't go against these people, the Jews. Because when they bite back,
They really bite back.
okay, that should be done. And this cycle will never end. I'm a realistic person. Unless there is radical Islam in the genes, no peace. You'll have to fight. You have to live by the sword.
And last question we'll take for the night is Vignesh. He says, thank you so much. Firstly, when Israel left Gaza in 2005, the beautiful Qatif turned into rubble. This is secularism, a grave threat.
You're so right, Vignesh. You're so right. The money which was poured in Gaza, even by Jewish businessmen from the United States, they could have built a second Singapore, if not a Venice, in Gaza. But what they used all their money, the infrastructure which they built
They
for
gave it to
war.
the Chinese to make tunnels.
Guys, I'm asking a question. Gaza is out of fuel, out of food, but not one thing, rockets and bullets. What is happening here? Today they are saying, guys, Israel, we should open the electricity. We are giving them electricity. We are giving them water. I am giving my enemy who has killed my children, my brothers. We are feeding them because the food aid is coming not only from Rafia, from Israeli checkpost also. And you are telling us that we are bad? Guys, they are not out of rockets and bullets.
Yeah.
I know when this truce will end, our cities here have been targeted in the meanwhile. So ask these people who are crying for the innocent Arabs, Palestinians, from where these rockets came from. Big ghetto. Gaza is a big ghetto. In a ghetto, you don't have missiles. You don't have rockets. You don't have big tunnels, which will put the Vietcong to shame. Open your eyes, guys. Open your eyes. Don't see TikTok. Open a good book written by an unbiased person. Videos like this on a channel like this. And then, if you think that I am Mr. Gabriel is talking nonsense, go and look it up.
It's open. Trust me, it's
But
open.
I am only convincing the convinced. Those who are in denial, we have these are the wokes, these are the seculars.
Absolutely. I must say, sir, thank you so much for spending this time.
Thank you.
We will obviously be in touch now that we are in touch, and we will obviously keep on doing these sessions so that we can actually learn a little more from you. I'm grateful that you've taken out the time. My regards to your family, and shalom, and
Shalom.
blessings
Namaste.
from everybody in India. I hope this war comes to an end and everybody stays in peace, and that's the most important thing. And we both kind of find a way to kick this ideology right where it hurts. On that note, Jai Hind and Jai Israel.
Thank you. Thank you.